All right, welcome to our nutrition masterclass tonight with the Fit Ma Initiative. I am your coach and host, Jason Craig. Now, before we kick this thing off, you know how we always do it, ladies. First off, get that link out there. Bring out all of your friends, get all of your family members, anybody who needs to learn about nutrition, get them on here tonight because you're going to be jumping into some stuff. I'll take a minute in Mississippi or two just to send out one more broadcast just to make sure everyone gets it. Now, let me know, what country are you signing into this live from? Put it in the comments below. Where are you joining us from in your neck of the woods? I'll kick it off. I am joining you, ladies, from St. Vincent, and this training is being hosted from St. Vincent. So I have started the ball rolling. Now let's see who else is in here, and let's jump into this thing. I've got a little bit of a schedule for us here tonight, so that's going to be fun. Let me just turn this thing a bit. I want to make sure I remove anything that will hinder our broadcast here tonight. So, right, I think I'm going to take this blow off. And if you guys see the dogs barking in the background there, I don't know, just seem pretty excited tonight. So let me go ahead and take this blow off. Right. So I don't want anything to slow us down tonight. So everybody seeing me good? All right, so let's get into this chat now. We got Hadassah, Trinidad. Rochelle Parsons, St. Vincent. Sylvia Burton, Trinidad. Rosemary, St. Vincent. Judith Beckway. Vita, St. Vincent. Joy, St. Vincent. Edlin Grenada. Ronell Williams, St. Vincent. And we got Melanie, St. Vincent. We got Desern. We got Nala, Grenada. Okay, so we got quite a number here tonight. Gloria, good to have you. Very active member in the Fit My Initiative group. So we're going to be jumping into this thing tonight. Now, a lot of folks want to know, Jason, what should I eat? When should I eat? How should I eat? And why should I eat? We can't forget the why. So we're going to be looking at this thing tonight. All right. So let's see. Okay. So before I continue, well, I was going to ask if everybody's hearing me. But if you were not hearing me, then you would not have responded with that question where you're from. So I know that everyone is hearing me clearly. Am I correct to assume that? Give me a 1 in the chat if you're hearing me. And let's keep this thing moving. Right. So everybody's hearing me. Give me a 1 in the chat. Well, they have to be hearing me. I mean, come on. Everybody responded just now. Okay, let's go to the audio. Right. Perfect. Mic check. Looking good. According to the chat. All right. 1. Okay, perfect. Everybody's hearing me. Good. And the numbers are jumping up, so I know folks are jumping on. I'm just kind of, giving like a minute or two. Generally speaking, when I'm starting at 7:30 or whatever the time I have designated, I'll be starting exactly at that time. But because this is such an important topic, I just want to give persons like 1 or 2 more Mississippis to jump on with this thing. Now, while we are doing that, please let me give you guys the agenda for tonight. So we're going to be jumping into a quick intro, just giving you guys an overview of nutrition. Then I'll be giving you guys some terms that you're going to hear a lot once you're starting a weight loss journey, or if you have started one already, you're going to be hearing these terms. I'm going to give you what they mean and what the purpose is. I'm going to give you guys a 3-step formula that I have used successfully and that I still use with my clients to get them the fastest results. And if you memorize this formula, you could forget everything else. All right. And I'm going to give you guys a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're going to design a plate together. And in between this thing, we're going to be taking some questions and answers. All right? We're going to be taking some questions and answers. So let us jump into this thing now. And let us ensure that we get everything covered that is on the agenda here tonight. All right, great. So I think we have everyone hearing and seeing. Perfect. Right. That's it. All right. Now, there we go. Kenisha, Bella Graves, Rosemary, Sylvia, Judith. Okay. So now we're going to start this thing. 5 minutes in, let's start this thing. Welcome to our official nutrition masterclass. This is going to be the first of a couple more, but this is the main one. Tonight, if you do not have a pen or a paper with you, then you have not come with the intention to learn. So, with that being said, please grab a pen, a paper, some writing material. Yes, you're going to say, Jason, the recording is available, but obviously, you do not want to watch an hour long recording just to get the information you need to do right now, right? So, get your pen and paper. You're going to need that stuff and write some stuff down because we're about to jump in this thing. If you ladies are ready for this, give me a 5 in the chat. If you guys are ready for us to kick this training off, give me a 5 in the chat. And as long as I don't see those 5s, we're not kicking any training off. All right, so guys, go ahead. Give me a 5 in the chat. Let's kick this train off. Let's get this thing moving. All right. Okay. We got them coming in. 5s. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I'm motivated just as you are. So let's jump into this nutrition masterclass. Now, the reason I wanted to do this class, because when it comes to your nutrition, when it comes to your weight loss journey, when it comes to your weight loss journey, when it comes to the improvement of your health, when it comes to reversing diseases and just maintaining a healthy body, it all comes down to nutrition. Now, there's a pyramid we normally use, and I will give you some excerpts from it. Most persons come into a fitness program with the intention that they are going to work out hard, maybe 5 days, 6 days a week. They are going to give it their all and they are going to lose weight. Now, while the intention may seem good and the logic behind it may seem sensible, in reality, it's a totally different game. Why do you say that, Coach Jason? Well, here's the thing. When you look at it, and these numbers vary, but they are always in the ballpark of what I'm about to mention. When you look at it, right, exercise, when it comes to weight management, is responsible for about 20 right down to 10% of the results that you can expect to get. So then what is responsible for the other 80 to 90%? Friends, let me introduce you to nutrition. Nutrition. You have heard the saying before, you are what you eat. And there is a lot of truth to it. In fact, I have told clients in the past, and I did an interview last week, take a look right now. If you have a mirror close by, or if you got your phone, take a look, or if you're in tune with your body, take a look at your body right now. What you are seeing there is a direct relation to the food that you have taken in over the past decade or two. Now, I do not say that to be insultive or in any way, but I'm going to show you that whatever that image is, that we can change it by changing the input. So, if you are not happy with the way you look, feel, or perform, then let's start tonight by changing the input. Let's start tonight by plugging in some different ingredients so that we can get a different finished product. A lot of us here, cooks, moms, wives, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and we know that if we put the wrong ingredients in the mix, the end result will be not palatable. However, by adding a few secret ingredients, we can have our families dribbling all over dinner time. So that is what we're going to be doing here tonight. And I'll start with that preface. Because I do not care how hard you train, you cannot out-train a bad diet. And I think it's fitting for us to insert this here as we have just completed week 1 of the Fit My initiative. We got 3 more weeks to go. And remember this, you cannot out-train a bad diet. With that being said, nutrition is the bedrock of all that we will be doing moving forward because our workout sessions last 30 minutes, even if they lasted 2 hours. How much hours is in the day? Put it in the chat. Go ahead, put it in the chat. How much hours in a day? That's right, 24 hours. So even if we worked out, let's just use our number. If we work out for 30 minutes, that is still 23 minutes. So 23 hours and 30 minutes remaining. What are we doing with that 23 hours and 30 minutes? Even if we work out for 2 hours, that is still 22 hours remaining. What are we doing in those 22 hours? And the actions that we take in those 22 hours are going to determine the result that we'll get at the end of this Fit My initiative and even beyond. So my goal here is to bring it in and show you ladies how important it is for us to fix that remaining 23 hours and 30 minutes. Right? Now, with that being said, there are some terms that we hear a lot. And Coach Jason is a very visual person. So whenever I teach, I like to write. Everything for me is about writing. Now, I have recently moved back to St. Vincent, so I don't have my little teaching room set up. But for those like Hadassah and those from the past, they would know that I always had a whiteboard and my stand, and I'll always be teaching. Now, how much of you ladies have heard about carbohydrates before? Carbohydrates. Now, when it comes to carbohydrates, right? We have been fed this notion that carbohydrates is bad. And I'm going to take my time tonight. I'm not going to rush this thing. I'm going to take my time tonight. We have been fed this notion that carbohydrates is bad, right? Now, let me give you ladies and gentlemen, I see my brother there from Antigua, Adrian Williams, on board. Let me give you, ladies and gentlemen, a little preface about my philosophy and the way I use to determine what I would eat, right? Personally speaking, I believe in the biblical account of our existence here of humans. And I'll probably go into that another time. So I believe that we were created. I don't believe in this evolution nonsense. Well, let me put it this way. I don't believe in evolution. Because if I say nonsense, then that sounds a little bit, well, whatever. But I don't believe in it. So I believe that we were created intelligently by a supreme being. I also believe that supreme being has an ideal model for us. Now, where am I going? Most of you ladies here have a phone. You're probably using it right now to watch this training. Let's say you have a Samsung, a very popular phone that most of our clients have. And Samsung says, in order to get the most out of your S20, wherever they reach now in these models, in order to get the most out of your S20, you should charge it at the end of every night no more than 3 hours. If you charge it more than 3 hours, then you are going to risk burning out the battery. Now, that is a directive given from the manufacturer. And because we are all wise people, we will follow that directive as much as possible so that we can get the most out of our investment, being the S20. Now, if someone comes along and tells you, don't worry with Samsung, charge your phone all night. It's fine, nothing's going to happen. Charge your phone all night. What would you think of that person? Put it in the chat. What would you think of that person? In fact, let me go on next step. What would you do? Would you listen to that person and charge your phone disregarding the direct commandments or disregarding the direct instructions from Samsung? Or would you trust the manufacturer that he has given us or he has given you a correct instruction, a correct directive, and he has your best interest at heart? Right. I would go with the second option. I would trust the manufacturer, just like you ladies are saying in the chat. Now, according to the Bible, let's just go into some history here because we got to bring this thing practical. We got to bring it practical. According to the Bible, right? The original diet for mankind was a diet that consists of nuts, grains, and seeds. You could find it in Genesis chapter 1. Right? Nuts, grains, and seeds. That was the original diet. So that means things like our peanuts, our grains, the barley, the corn, those are from the grain category, or fruits. Let's use those familiar to us, the mangoes, the golden apples, those sort of stuff. That was the original diet. Pre-sin. After sin, vegetables and herbs was introduced. And if you want the references for this, I'll put these in the chat below when I write the write-up for YouTube. So vegetables and herbs were introduced after sin. So we never ate vegetables and herbs. And the question might be asked, well, why was vegetables and herbs introduced? Simple. When sin came in, we started dying. As such, our bodies needed protective agents against the effects of sin. That's the easiest way to put it. So the Lord in his mercy granted us permission to go ahead and eat herbs and use these vegetables so that we can now have that protective element. Case in point, when you're sick, our old folk parents would have used herbs because herbs has protective, they have restorative, they have healing elements in them. That's just a case in point of how the herbs work. Then, fast forward to the flood. And after the Lord destroyed the flood, then there was no vegetation on earth. Now, remember I said our original diet was nuts, grains, seeds, right? There was no vegetables, there was no nuts, there was no grains, there was no seeds. So, because the Lord was merciful, he gave humans, Noah at the time, being the representative of the human race, permission to now indulge for a while in flesh meat. Now watch this. Prior to the flood, when did I say? Prior to the flood, mankind ate primarily of fruits, grain, vegetables, nuts, seeds, with the herbs being added. Prior to the flood, what was the lifespan of mankind? 700, 800, 900 Methuselah. These are the kind of age ranges these guys lived. Meat got introduced into the diet post-flood. What was the age range now? 120 years, 90 years, 80 years, 70 years. I continue. As soon as the introduction of meat came into the diet, we saw that the lifestyle or the lifespan of man dropped significantly. I'll let you ponder on that for a while. Now, am I saying that all of us have to become plant-based? No, I'm not saying that. My goal here as a coach, I will present to you the facts. You get to decide what direction you want to go with the information that's being presented. Now, let's fast forward into our time because there's some little old Bible story. This boy coming to teach me nutrition masterclass tonight. Fine, no problem. Let's dig into this thing. What country consumes the most meat, whether in its processed form or unprocessed form? Most of us have traveled there. What country consumes the most meat? Or let's put it this way, one of the countries that consumes the most meat. Right, the US of A. Bacon, ham, hamburger, meatballs, etc. Now, pay close attention, and I will indulge your patience in, at some point in your schedule, go on the World Health Organization or the Center for Disease Control and look at the top causes of death in America. Heart disease, cancer, and it's called ischemic heart disease, cancer, pneumonia is up there, diabetes, and then we have the offstroke, which is like strokes, high blood pressure, etc. Heretofore, or let me just backtrack. Prior to our modernization here in the Caribbean, our Caribbean folks normally eat ground provision, yam, sweet potato, maybe little fish they catch in the water. And our foreparents live quite a long time. All of a sudden, we decided that these foods here are not modern. And so we started importing, we started having the same foods that you find in the US here in the Caribbean. Pay close attention. What are you seeing now on the rise in the Caribbean? Cancer, diabetes, heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Notice the pattern? Our young ladies, and I spoke to 3 over the weekend, all of them under 30, are developing PCOS. Fibroids, we did that in our training, but PCOS is on the rise right now amongst our young ladies. Let me further inject this. I learned this painfully from the bodybuilding world, but I've seen it transmuted through the food world. The goal of fast food chains, the goal of food manufacturers is to make a profit, not to make you healthy. I'm going to say that again. The goal of fast food chains and manufacturers is to make a profit, not to make you healthy. So if that means shortening the time from chicks to the slaughterhouse by 3 to 4 weeks, if that means that we can cut that time, a normal chicken may take, let me just call random numbers now, 6 to 8 weeks. We can get him ready in about 3 weeks to be on the table. If that means doing that, if that means added known carcinogens, foods that contribute to the development of cancer, to our foods so that we can enhance the taste, make it more appealing, and have repeat buying, then we are going to be doing that. Because we do not care that as they eat these foods, our young ladies are developing PCOS. We are having kids, and I say that word without any apology, kids menstruating. When these things should be in teenage years, we're having kids menstruating. We're having our young ladies just barely getting into secondary school with fully developed bodies. The same chemicals that are used to prepare these chickens and these sort of meats for the slaughterhouse is being injected voluntarily, because none of us were forced into any fast food chain with a gun held to our heads to eat, voluntarily into the consumer. Right? Let me pause right there. So, what I'm in essence saying, as I started this thing with, look at your body in the mirror, or you got your phone in front of you. Whatever you're seeing there is a direct result of the food that you have inputted in the last decade or two. The good news is, just like the Samson story, we could always go back to the manufacturer's instructions. And I'll show you how to do that tonight. Now, there are some terms you hear about a lot. When it comes to food, food is broken down into 3 macronutrients. And macro means large, nutrients means, well, food. So foods that we need in large amounts. That is what macronutrients are about, right? So carbohydrates is the first one. Protein is the second one, and fats is the third one. So most of the foods that you consume will have carbohydrates in it, they will have proteins, and they will have fats. What did I say? Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now, what is the purpose of carbohydrates? Carbohydrates is the primary fuel source that the body uses. So in the cell repair, in metabolism, in all of these things, that is what the body uses, carbohydrates. So it breaks it down, takes all the carbohydrates, breaks down to glucose, and we don't need to get into a biology class tonight, but uses carbohydrates for energy, right? So that's what your body uses, energy. Protein. Protein is what your body uses to build and repair tissues. So, for example, when we were working out last week, Our muscles were being damaged because of the training we're doing, and that is normal damage. And for the bodies to fix and repair them, it will take out of from your protein sources, all the foods that you eat. Fats. Fats are used for insulation, they're also used for lubrication, and they're also used in the production of hormones, which is why we find that when competitive athletes, for example, these ladies who do the fitness shows, when they are at their leanest, like 2%, 7%, 5% body fat, you find that other functions go off. So they wouldn't have periods for a long period of time, etc., etc., etc. All right? Because the hormonal raw material is not present. Let's get that clear. Now, over the last few years, remember I said the original diet is fruits, grains, nuts, seeds, and then vegetables was introduced thereafter. Over the last few years, there has been a bad rap on carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is bad. You should need to go on a low carb diet. You need to cut out carbs. If you look at these foods, fruits, grains, nuts, and seeds, what is the dominant? And you don't need to be a nutritionist for this, right? What is the dominant nutrition there? Is it more carbohydrates? Is it more protein? Or is it more fats? Just put it in the chat. You don't need to be a nutritionist for this. This is like so obvious. If you take a mango, what is the dominant nutrition of those things I just called? A carbohydrate dominant, protein dominant, or fat dominant? Rice, sweet potato, yams. What is the dominant one? Go ahead and put it in the chat. And the chat is taking a while to load up, right? So I'm just giving it a minute. Right? Okay. Some say proteins, some say, okay, I see protein there. Okay, let's examine it. Right? So a quick way you can know if carbohydrates is present is if the food is sweet. A quick you can know if carbohydrates is present is if it is filled with grains, or as you like to, or also is if it has starch present. Right? So let me give you some examples of carbohydrates. Rice, oats, fruits, vegetables. What are you seeing? What is the pattern you're seeing there? All of these are carbohydrate dominant. So if the manufacturer put this dominant macronutrient as carbohydrate, how could we come and say that carbohydrate is bad? Now the reason carbohydrate is bad, I'll be getting to it shortly. Right? Let's move on to the next one. Protein. Oh, before we move over there. So we've given you some sources of carbohydrates. Now here is the thing. You always, and remember this is a key rule. This is a key rule for this whole thing. Always try to get your foods as close to their natural states as possible. Now, the reason carbohydrates is bad is because when you change the manufacturer's original design by stripping away the fiber, by stripping away the bran, by stripping away all of the good stuff from it and prettying it up and then adding it back, then you have a problem on your hand. Case in point, wheat germ or wheat, the wheat, right? The wheat has the endosperm, it has the bran, it has the fiber, and these are some of the components of a wheat. When they are going to change it from a whole wheat to a white flour, they're going to have to take away the bran, they're going to have to take away the fiber, so that you could just have the endosperm inside, and they crush that, break that down, and now you have your white flour after they've added a couple things to it to bring the color back up. Now, here's the problem with that. Fiber in foods helps to dampen the effect of blood sugar spikes. So, if you were to eat a mango, that mango contains fiber. And what fiber does, when that sugar hits your blood, it doesn't cause an immediate spike. It's like a drip feed. So the fiber causes the sugar to be dripped in the blood as opposed to a surge. Contrast that with a candy. Same carbohydrate, you suck that, there is no fiber, there is no bran, there is no protective layer. As such, that thing is broken down so fast, it hits your bloodstream, your blood sugar spikes, your body dumps insulin, and then your body goes into fat storage mode. You do this thing over a period of time, you start developing type 2 diabetes. You make no change and you go into the complications associated with diabetes and the off spills or the spill off of those complications. Same carbohydrates, different processing. The one the Lord give us, He also give us the correct packaging so that when it enters the body, it is processed correctly without any negative side effects. When man gets their hands on it, their goal is to make a profit. So they want more out of it, more money from it, and it doesn't matter what it does to your health. So they take away all the good stuff that's going to slow it down. They give it to you, you eat it. Over a while, you develop type 2 diabetes, and then you create the literature that says that carbohydrates is bad. Absolute, absolute foolishness. Carbohydrates is good. If it's the primary source of energy in the body, then it cannot be bad. If all the foods originally created were carbohydrate dominant, then it cannot be bad. Because if it is bad, it means the manufacturer made a mistake. And based on the data I've shared with you, pre-flood, all these guys lived nearly forever. So obviously there was no mistake made. The mistake came when we humans believed that we can do a better job than the creator, and so we started messing with the food. All right. So first thing, eat your foods as close to your natural state as possible. Let me give you some practical examples. We live in the Caribbean, food is abundant here. We have our ground provisions, we have corn now in season, we have our fruits, and all of these things. As much as you could get those, use them. When you start changing their breakup, or when you start adding more things or taking away good stuff, so like whole grain flour as opposed to white flour, then you are going to end up with more complications in your body, right? Now, I know someone's going to say, oh, Jason, healthy food is expensive. Somebody told me that today. Friday. Now, healthy food is not expensive. The thing with it is that once you learn how to prepare it, how to take the simple ingredients that we have and turn them into nutritious meals, you are going to find that healthy foods is actually a lot cheaper to sustain on than processed foods. Case in point, or next example, healthy foods is also a lot more available because if you go outside or right in your local, you're going to see all of these foods that are present here. Once you learn to take them and turn them into nutritious meals, then you are going to find great benefit from them. COVID just hit. We had a lockdown. They imposed different restrictions. The boats stopped coming, and all of a sudden, what happened? The food prices surged and still surging, and we are finding that we are catching our tail. Now, I think that may be a warning to us. It may also be a lesson that we should try to be more self-sustainable. So plant your garden in the back now. In your spare time, start planting a garden because these restrictions are going to become more and more imposed or more and more increased as the time goes on. And what happens if you can't buy the grocery food? Then what? You're going to starve and die? Obviously not. Go back to the original diet. Yes, it may require some work. It may require that you get somebody to clear the land, prepare the land for you. But start planting your foods because one, you know what you put in it, and you will never kill yourself. And number two, because you are planting it, you control the supply and demand. So if you want more of it, you plant more. If you have too much, you share some with your neighbors, or you freeze and dry the rest for rainy days. All right. So keep your foods as natural as possible. Proteins. Proteins are used for build and repair. Sources of proteins are obviously all the animal products, so like the meat, the beef, turkey, salmon, eggs, etc. All for the plant-based sources is going to be your peas, beans. Simple, peas and beans. In that format, they generally provide a lot of protein. And then there is the spill-off, so there's like the soy, the tofu, all these are from the peas and beans. The gluten, these are also from the grains, and these provide protein to your body. All right. And then the fats, sources of fats, again, fats has gotten a bad rap, that fats is bad and etc. When it comes back to my original point, once you process the fat, it becomes bad. When you eat the fat in its natural state, it's perfect for you. Cases of natural fat, nuts, seeds, coconut. So dry coconut, nice source of fat. Olive oil, virgin, cold pressed olive oil, perfect source. And all of these seeds and their offspring oils, these are natural sources of fats, right? Now I'm going to give you guys a formula. And remember, we're going to be building the plate. We're half an hour in now, so we're going to be building the plate shortly. And we have to go to work tomorrow. Can't give you everything in one night. It's such an inclusive, it's such an exclusive topic, and there's so much involved in it that I'm trying to give you the speed up version. Remember this: T P T T P T. Right? What does the first T stands for? The first T stands for type. When we talk about the type of food, as I said before, you want to ensure that you're getting your foods as close to their natural states as possible. So, minimum processing. Case in point, the whole grain flour versus the white flour, the natural brown rice versus the refined and white rice, the honey or brown sugar in its natural cane sugar format versus our white sugar or aspartame or sucralose or any of these NutraSweet artificial sweeteners. So we have processed on one hand, we have natural. We want to stay as close to the side as possible. All right? That is the type of food. The preparation, how we prepare those foods for consumption. Let me give you a case in point. Broccoli. Let's just use a nice, readily available vegetable. Or how about carrots? I have carrots here. So let's say we took that carrot and we battered it in flour and we deep fried it in a pot of oil. We're making our vegan hot dog. You have just taken a perfectly nice food, prepared it in a horrible manner, and changed the outcome of that food. A food that was intended, loaded with nutrients, loaded with antioxidants, loaded with all of these good vitamins and minerals. You have battered it, deep fried it, added calories to it, changed the nutritional profile, take away the healthy antioxidants and digestive enzymes, and this food just becomes like something else. Another foreign load added to your body. That is the preparation. And then the last part, just as important, is the timing. So let's go back to the type. Natural carrot. Preparation. We grilled it. Very good. Timing. We eat it just before bed. We eat a whole plate of that just before bed, going to sleep in the night. Y'all follow me? Mess up the whole thing. Perfectly good meal. Prepared in an awesome manner. And we ate a whole plate of it just before going to sleep at night. Messed up the timing. So if you remember this, T, P, T, you apply this to your eating, you're going to see amazing results. You take the right food, right? Type, eat it as close to the natural state as possible. As possible, right? All foods can be eaten raw. Okay? So eat it as close to its natural state as possible. Right, you have done step one. Good job. Keep it up. Now your preparation. What preparation methods do you recommend, Coach Jason? Bake, broil, boil, steam, grill. Right? These are some of the methods I recommend. What are some of the recommend you don't? What are some of the methods you do not recommend, Coach Jason? Deep fry, as I said before. Frying in general. No, this is not hard and fast. As much as you could avoid it, do it. I'm not telling you to cut out. I'm just telling you to add healthier stuff, right? Barbecue because of the smoke. And bronging, like pilau, that kind of stuff. So those methods are stew. As somebody corrected me there, Anela, thank you very much. These methods are ways you want to ensure that you prepare your food in the right way. And then once you've gotten your foods as natural as possible, once you've prepared it in the right way, eat it at the right time. With that being said, what is the right time to eat? So, I am a pilot, so I'm going to use a flying example, right? And all of us here has been exposed to plane at some point in our lives or heard about it. You are going to America. The plane is parked up at the E.T. Joshua or the Piaco or the VC Bird. I think we have no Grenada, Morris Bishop Airport. When would you want that plane to be when would you want the plane to be fueled up? When you get to America or before you leave for your journey? Put it in the chat. You are about to take off. You're heading to the US. When would you like that pilot to fuel up the plane? Before leaving for that long journey or after he's arrived at the journey? Go ahead, put it in the chat. I'm going to give y'all one or two more Mississippis. I need some background music to be playing here. You know, when we just here waiting for like my people to put something in the chat. We need some background music. But anyway, go ahead, put it in the chat. Tell me when you want this pilot to fill up this plane. Right. Everybody said at the start of the journey. Right. Okay. Right. Everybody said before. Everybody just said that simultaneously. Right. Obviously, you want it before. So, when do you think you should eat the most food? At the start of the day when your body going to use it for energy, or just before bed when your body going to sleep and there's no need for energy? Energy demands. Exactly. You want it just like the plane at the start of the day. So, what does that mean? It means eat breakfast like a king, eat lunch like a prince, and eat dinner like a pauper or somebody who's really poor and can't afford much. Why? Because at the start of the day, your body is prepared for the demands of that day. As such, you want to ensure that you're getting your full meal, and we'll be jumping into that shortly. Getting in all of most of your food should be the start of the day, right? And you're going to tell me to eat breakfast. I'm waiting for it. We'll get to that shortly. Lunchtime or shortly thereafter, you can start to taper it down, right? So you eat like a prince. Not as extravagant, but still a full meal. And dinner, if at all, because you are now going to sleep and then there is no more demands, then you can eat dinner like something light, a fruit, a grain, just something light because you're just going to sleep now. Also, your body tends to process carbohydrates better before 12 p.m. So for those of you who say every time I eat carbohydrates, I gain fat. When do you eat these carbohydrates? That will be my question to you. What kind of carbohydrates are you eating? How is that carbohydrate prepared? I've used the exact same formula, the type, the preparation, and the timing. And if you could answer those three questions honestly, you will see exactly why when you eat carbohydrates, you are putting on weight. Right? Now, it's time for us to bring out the whiteboard and we're going to design some meals together. You guys are going to be interactive with me, right? You guys are going to be interactive with me. Now, if you wish, you will put the answers in the chat for me, right? I want you guys to put the answers in the chat. So this is our plate. Now, I'm not known for my artistic skills, right? I am better as a coach. This is our plate right here. Imagine this is your plate. And we're going to fill this plate in. So, on this side, we are going to have veggies or fruit. On this side, we're going to have our protein of choice. And on this side, we're going to have our grain slash carbs. Let me just put that there. And then we have a little circle out here that says fats. All right, so everybody can see that? Here we go. So, this side over here, vegetables or fruit. Pay close attention to the or. Fruits and vegetables, as much as it's practical, should not be eaten at the same meal. Why? Because fruits digest faster than vegetables, and when both of them are digested at the same meal, you're going to have one being digested earlier, but because the vegetables is taking its time, it's going to slow its passage through your digestive tract and petrify or rotten in your stomach, which is not something you want. So, it's either you're going to eat vegetables or you're going to eat fruits. So, you may have vegetables for lunch and you may have your fruits in the morning. So, half of your plate should be either fruit or vegetables, right? Vegetables, as much as is possible, should be cooked. All vegetables except lettuce should be cooked or steam lightly, not cooked, steam lightly, right? So we have this trend going around now where people is juicing kale, broccoli, carrots, and all of these things. If you look at, and I'll bring it up one of these days, I believe it was the Department of Agriculture, they did a study, and they found that vegetables that are steamed or cooked are a lot more absorbable. So you get more nutrients, you get a lot more nutrients, vitamins, minerals from them as opposed to those that are raw. Right? So if you're eating for the benefit of getting nutrients, of getting all of those healthy stuff, you want to cook, lightly steam your vegetables. Vegetables, right? Fruits now could be eaten raw, and it depends on what fruit we're talking about. As a general definition, fruits are those things that contain seeds. So oranges, mangoes, golden apples, plums, all those are fruits. Pumpkin is also a fruit because it contains a seed, but obviously we can't eat pumpkin raw, so that one must be cooked. Eggplant, or as we say in Trinidad, baigan, that is also a fruit, contains a seed in the middle, but that one has to be cooked as well. All right, so those are the exceptions for fruits that will be cooked. Now on this side, we're going to have our protein. Your protein of choice, use the same formula. I'm not telling you to become plant-based, but what I am telling you is wherever you're getting your foods from, ensure you get it to as close as its natural state as possible. So if you could team up with a local butcher and get your meat from him, as opposed to going and buying a beef patty that has been processed and God knows what has been added to it, that will be preferred. That is going to be a protein. If you are into the plant-based, then in this side, you're going to have your beans, however you want to do it. And this could also include your tofu. It could also include your soybeans. It could also include things like edamame, tempeh, and these kind of stuff. All right, your protein powder could also be there, and we'll get to that one, a more complex one. And then the last one is going to be your grains, or as we call it, the carbs. So your grains is going to be a thing like your brown rice. It could also be like your sweet potatoes, your yam, your dashin, your granola. That's a grain. Your whole grain bread. No, this coach is not going to tell you cut out bread. And these can be your grains. And then at the end over here, still working this year, that is your fats. And your fats are generally eaten at the end of your meal. And the reason for that is that fats tend to close off the meal, right? So if you find yourself feeling hungry between meals, after you've eaten, you're still feeling hungry, you may need to add some fats at the end of the meal. So that could be a thing like your dry coconut. It could also be your nuts or seeds of your choice, so cashew, peanuts, whatever it is. At the end of your meal, you add that or you eat that, and you're going to find yourself feeling fuller longer, right? This is just a basic overview right here. So, with that being said, let's put together a breakfast because we can teach it, but if you guys don't know how to apply it in your everyday life, then it's not going to work. So, I need someone, and let me see if we can do this real quick, right? Who wants to volunteer? I'm going to drop a link in the chat, right? If you click on that link, you're going to come on this panel here with me, and we're going to put together a breakfast together for the benefit of others. And our next person is going to do lunch, and then for the dinner, I'll do another chart for the dinner. By the way, this pattern is what you're going to use for your breakfast and lunch, right? We'll come to the dinner shortly. So somebody go ahead and click that link that is in the chat. Let me bring you on the panel. Don't be afraid. And let's put together a breakfast together. Now, if that takes too long, then we'll just have to do it. I'll just have to speed up via this current platform we have here. All right. So let me see who's going to be the first one or bunch of y'all. Click that link, jump in, and let's put together a breakfast together. In the meantime, I want you ladies to put something in the chat what you normally eat for breakfast. So put your typical breakfast in the chat, and I will cut that up in the meantime while we're waiting for someone to jump in the chat. All right? So go ahead and put what you normally have for breakfast in the chat, and let's cut this thing up, dissect it, and let's see if you are hitting all of the macronutrients needed. All right. So let's get a typical breakfast. A normal breakfast somebody may have is cornflakes. And let's just for the benefit of this one, let's say it's a Raisin Bran cornflake. All right. So if you're having a Raisin Bran cornflake, then which of these areas are you fulfilling? Which of these macronutrients are you fulfilling? Obviously, the carbohydrates. So that's your grain. And we're assuming that you're using your Raisin Bran with the whole grain flakes. So that's your grain. You may also have a little bit of protein from the grains, but nothing considerable. What is missing? Obviously, the vegetables and the protein, or the fruit and the protein. Yes, we can argue that you have a little bit of you have a little bit of vegetables, you have a little bit of fruit, sorry, from the raisins, and that may consist of this section. However, it is nothing to meet the requirements that we're looking for, right? So, how would we change that meal? Easy. If you're gonna do it, you can still have your raisin bran. You have your raisin bran that's take care of here, a little bit of raisins that will take care of your fruits, but you could add another fruit to it, and then you can top it off with some. If you guys have a good plant-based milk, right? A good plant-based milk like almond milk or soy milk or one of those. All right. Okay, so we have someone jumped in here. Hi, Valina. How are you doing? Unmute yourself. Let's unmute you. Okay, Valina, just unmute yourself and then we will bring you in the chat. All right, you
All
there?
right. Yes, I'm here.
Awesome, great. So let us start with a breakfast. Now, give me a typical breakfast that you would do, and let's put it in the chat and see. Put it in the chat, and let's see how we can improve on it.
Okay.
So, what would you normally have for breakfast, Felina?
I'm going to type. Hmm? Unless I'm doing something, you know.
And you typing it on the what, WhatsApp channel or the channel we have here?
This one I'm having here.
Okay, if it's easier for you, you could just say it because then I'll have to read for the chat to come through.
Okay. Well, I'll have a banana.
Okay, let me write that down. Banana. Uh-huh.
Then I'll have some sardines with a slice or two of bread.
Slice or two of bread. Uh-huh.
And then I'll have my cup of tea. Preferably, my tea is normally herbs or mint
Uh-huh.
or ginger. I don't use milk, and I don't like cocoa. If ever I use cocoa, I'll do it dark. I don't use milk.
Okay. Valina, if I may ask, where are you from?
Saint Vincent.
Oh, St. Vincent. I was wondering I was wondering from Grenada because all Grenadians like cocoa, which that makes sense then. Okay. So for the bread, just describe to me, is this a white bread or a whole wheat bread?
No, wheat. I don't use white bread.
Wheat. Okay. So let's put this thing into our chart and let's see exactly how this is gonna come up. Right? So
All right.
Valina has here, I'm gonna write it for you. She has her banana. Let's put it there. Guys, listen. We need this thing interactive. Right, there we go. She has her banana. What section will the banana go? Obviously, I'm going to put a B. The banana will go in her fruits section. Next thing she has is a whole grain bread. Now, what section is that going to go in? Obviously, in the grains section. So let's put another B there for her whole grain bread. Now, what is missing? Sardines. Where is sardines going to go? What did we say were some sources of protein? We had meats, we had our fish, we had our beans and our grains. So the sardines, let's put an S here, is going to go in the protein. And if you guys are familiar with sardines, sardine also contains fats. So because sardine is hitting two of these macronutrients, she may not need to put or she may need to have nuts at the end of her meal. All right. So that was definitely a good one. That meal, I like that meal combination. Um, and with that meal combination, she is definitely hitting all of the macros. Now, Judith Jackson says she does a fruit smoothie. Let me bring it up here so you guys can see it. Right. Fruit smoothie, no milk. Now, how would we make this fruit smoothie to ensure that it hits all macros? And Valina is still here. Perfect. Right. How would we make this fruit smoothie to ensure that it hits all? Actually, let me bring her back. Unmute yourself, right, Valina? While you're doing that, okay, there you are. Add to stream. Perfect. You hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Right. So we were just discussing the meal
I
that you give
lost you
us.
for a bit. I didn't hear what you said before.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to show you your meal and how it hits all of these macros. Let's start
Okay.
with the banana. Which section the banana is going to hit?
Um,
Can you see my screen as well?
I'm seeing the screen, but it's
Oh,
really,
okay. So is it going to be in this section which has vegetables or fruits?
yeah.
Right. So that section is taken care of. Perfect. The banana takes care of that section. Now the bread, it is a whole grain bread. So it's going to be in this section that says grain or carbohydrates. So you have
Okay.
taken care of section number one. Awesome. Section number two. Now the sardine contains protein. So that is taking care of this section. And sardine also contains healthy fats, omega 3, and you have taken care of all four sections. So
Thank
that meal
you.
combination is awesome. Again, great for a starter. Not problem there. And I'll definitely recommend you keep that up. The with the while we have you on the line, Valina, just to make this easier, well, let's now dive into lunch so we can demonstrate some lunch for the ladies, other ladies on the chat. So, what would a typical lunch be like?
Oh, pillow.
Pilau. Not,
Pillow.
not, and there's no wrong answers, eh? Pilau.
The
Okay.
pillow with all my veggies in it. I like it mixed.
Pilau plus veggies. And this is a chicken pilau, right?
Yes.
Okay, chicken pilau. All right. So, let's jump into this thing now. So, the pilau is going to contain rice, which is going to be the grain.
Uh-huh.
It is also going to contain chicken, which is going to be the protein.
And
And
fat.
she mentioned that she has her vegetables, which is going to contain the vegetables. The only thing you could add to it at the end is some avocados. So some fresh
Yes.
avocados in season, and that will
Yeah.
take care of the fats. Now, that hits all of the macros, right? 100% agree. And in terms of fulfilling this plate, it does that. However, remember earlier we said type, try to get your food as close to their natural state as possible. P,
Uh-huh.
preparation of those foods. And T, the timing of those foods. If you're eating it at lunchtime, timing is taken care of. If you are having brown rice or whole grain rice, not whole grain rice, sorry, brown rice, natural rice, wild rice, then the type is taken care of. The only adjustment I would personally make, especially if I was on a weight loss journey, I would probably not do it in a pillow because it is stewed and
Yeah.
that may increase the caloric intake of the food. Make sense?
Yes. Yes, makes sense.
Perfect. And then let's do the last one, which is dinner. What would you have for dinner?
Okay, my dinner will be, well, most of the times I just go dry cornflakes, or I'll go with the dry stuff, crackers or
Uh,
something, but I'll use juice.
dry something and juice, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally I don't eat anything with my bread or crackers or whatever I'm having for I'll just eat it dry and drink juice. I know that's not really the ideal, but that's my style.
No problem. We're not here to judge. We're just here to teach. Right?
Yeah.
So for the dinner, what we recommend is grain and fruit or grain. Right?
Okay.
Grain or fruit
Yeah.
and grain. So in your case, let's the conflict is what kind of conflict? Is like a raisin bran or what is it?
Raisin bran most of the time, or
So if you
dry bran
mhm.
and oat crackers.
Right. So in a case like that, you have fulfill the requirements of a dinner. If it's raisin bran, that's a grain, the raisin
Yeah.
bran, and the fruit will be the raisin. You have to
Yeah.
fulfill those two requirements, right? Yes, the
Yes.
juice, I will definitely probably cut that out or maybe drink it
Right.
earlier in the day,
Yes, true.
just because that is, in my opinion, and I haven't seen yours yet, so I can't make a assessment based on you. But in my opinion, from the ladies I've worked with, that will be a little bit too much carbohydrates for the night. Carbohydrates
Yeah,
is fine, but
got
because
that.
you're
I
going to
learned a
school,
lot tonight.
huh?
I learned a lot tonight.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you did. And am I pronouncing your name right, Valina?
Valina, yeah.
Valina, awesome. But thank you so much for jumping on here and
Yeah.
helping us with a live demo. I appreciate that. So
Nice. It was nice being here.
awesome, awesome. I like that you're the brave one. Lovely. All right, Valina. So let's just jump back into the class now, and I'll see you on the inside. Right. So as we discussed there, that is basically how you prepare it. Now, if you want to do a smoothie, and this smoothie is a big one because a lot of persons do smoothie. Let me bring this thing up again. Smoothie. And we're going to have a fruit smoothie, right? We're going to bring some fruits in. Let's bring our bananas in, or English apple, or golden apple, or whatever your apple is, mango, whatever it is. Bring that in. That's going to be a part of your smoothie. You're going to bring in either a oats or granola for the grains. And this is the part I find is normally missing in smoothies, the protein. So most persons would have a smoothie. They would have a banana, they would have a mango, they would have berries, they would have cherries, then they would put some granola, and then they would put some milk. Now, here's the problem with that. First off, that's a lot of sugars, right? Yes, we're getting it from our natural sources. You say, but Jason, that's some conflicting. You just told me that if the food's in its natural state, then it has the fiber to protect it. Correct. But what I also did not mention is that when you eat the fruit, you get the maximum benefit of the fiber usage. But when you put it in a blender, the blender has done half of that digestion for you. So it is in effect a pre-digested meal that you are eating, which is why I would add the granola to it because that would also give you extra fiber, or the oats. But more importantly, I would add a protein powder to it. So if you guys have a protein powder, plant based, which is going to be my first preference, and that takes some getting used to, or a whey protein powder. What the protein is going to do, that is going to add the missing element. And if you want to take it a notch higher, then you can add a teaspoon of cold press or virgin coconut oil. That is going to bring the healthy fats in. And a meal like that will kickstart you for the day, right? So all I will do, if I'm having banana, I'll probably not add another fruit, right? If I'm having banana, I'll not add another fruit because banana carries a lot of the sugars that we're gonna need for that meal. If I'm not having banana, then I'll do a mixed fruit. I'll probably do some mango, berries, etc. Right? But banana generally has a high, what do you call it by glycemic index? Yeah. So if I'm doing banana, it's gonna be banana alone. Or somebody say you can add flaxseed as well. So I'm gonna do my banana. I will do some granola or oats. I will add a scoop of protein powder, and then I will then throw in my flaxseed or a teaspoon of coconut oil. Right, for my lunch, let me use a typical Caribbean lunch. Ground provision, oil long. Let me use oil long. Spend some time in Grenada. So oil long is cool. What is missing in the oil long, I find, is the vegetable. If you have an oil long, try and have a little bit more vegetable. With the typical oil long, the biggest section here is going to be more of your carbs. So more of this is going to be the breadfruit, the ground provision, etc. But that is only supposed to be a quarter of the plate. And whatever your meat is, that might still fall in the quarter, but this is definitely going to be too much carbohydrates for your activity. Now, when can that work? That can work if oil is going to be your only meal of the day, because the caloric intake from that may be a little bit higher than you are required to get based on your activity. As such, it may then work may work against you. All right. And for other lunches, you could have ground provision again, but always maintain this pattern. You see, with this pattern, you don't run the risk of overeating. You don't run the risk of taking in too much of one. If you keep half your plate vegetables or fruit in season, um, protein quarter, carbs quarter, and a handful for your nuts, then you're not going to run the risk of overeating. You're not going to run the risk of um, eating too much calories based on your activity, right? So we have some questions here. Show them. Let's show them. What about peanut butter in a smoothie? Yes, you could use peanut butter in a smoothie. That will be your fats. Now, you're not going to use 3 and 4 tablespoons of peanut. You're going to just use 1 teaspoon of peanut. And preferably, this is important, if you could get the natural peanut butter. Why you say that, Jason? Because the normal protein, because the normal peanut butter has hydrogenated vegetable oil, which is the vegetable oil that will raise your cholesterol, raise your blood pressure, raise all of the bad stuff in your body. And that is not what we want. So if you could get the natural peanut butter, or if you could just get some handful of nuts and throw it in there, that would be perfect. All right. Flaxseed oil could still be used. Right. Judith, fruits first two or one size with molasses and beans and fish. Right. Okay. This is a typical Caribbean breakfast here. So she's gonna have her fruits first, and I forgot to mention that. Very good. The reason you're gonna have your fruits first, again, the fruits break down faster, or the foods that are raw, the fruits that are raw is going to be breaking down faster than the rest of your meal. So that is gonna get in your system, get digested, keep the process moving. One slice of bread, I'm assuming that's a whole grain bread, and if it is not, then that we're gonna recommend a whole grain bread with molasses. That is definitely a good blood builder. Perfect. With beans or fish. So the beans or fish is going to take care of her protein and then boost you without milk. Now this one again, I won't give you ladies too much, right? I won't give you too much. But when it comes to drinking and eating, if possible, we in the Caribbean, we know drink boost you with everything. But if possible, drink your tea also before you eat, because when you eat and drink, you dilute the digestive juices that are breaking down the food, and so the food stays in your stomach a longer time. All right. Before bed, I'll have some Weetabix and milk. Weetabix rocks. Milk before bed comes back to the same high fat thing, right? And the protein. So the proteins take a longer time to break down your stomach, and because you're going to sleep, and let me bring this point in. The reason we recommend having fruit only or fruit and grain, so like a raisin and the bran, or a bread with homemade mango jelly or mango guava jelly, homemade. These guava jelly. The reason I recommend that is because these carbohydrates break down faster and they clear the system before you're ready to go to bed. Which brings me to the next point. You should have your dinner at least 3 hours before bed, so that the food could be cleared, the digestive system is prepared, and when you go to sleep, your body's just working on repair of your body, not on breaking down food. With the protein in your meal, it's going to stay in your system longer. As a result, when your body should be repairing itself for the next day, it is digesting food, which is why when you eat a lot and go to sleep, you wake up feeling tired and you wake up feeling hungry because all your body been doing digesting, 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 and your system hasn't had a rest. All right. So I know we have dived into a lot, and there's so much more we could jump into. Um, there's so much more that we could jump into tonight, but I won't because I don't want to overwhelm you. The key thing that you want to note, and I'll try and put this up in a nice graphic in the FitMa Initiative group, so you ladies can download that and have it on your phones. Whenever you're eating, you will try your best to match your foods according to that plan. Dinner, I will also put it up there and I'll send it over to you. All right, ladies. So, with that being said, I'm going to bring this thing in to a close. I know we have touched a lot. And let me just do a quick recap for those who are coming at the last minute, at the 11th hour, as the Bible would call it. Carbohydrates, all foods are broken down into 3 macronutrients. Carbohydrates, which are the primary energy source, so your body uses carbohydrates for energy. Protein, which your body uses to repair your muscles and tissues. And fats, which your body uses for insulation, keeping you warm, helping your joints to be lubricated so you don't have that creak when you're moving, and also to produce hormones, which is why when you're going through menopause, you should ensure that you're having a lot of healthy fats. Anytime you are going to eat, remember this formula: T P T. T P T. T stands for type. Eat your foods as close to their natural states as possible. Eat your food as close to their natural state as possible. So choose whole grain flour over white flour. Choose honey, stevia, cane sugar certified over white sugar, aspartame, sucralose, NutraSweet. Right? Choose a, beef from a local butcher as opposed to a hamburger that is in a package. Close to the natural state as possible. Preparation. When you have acquired or when you have completed step one, do not mess it up by preparing the food in a wrong way. What preparation methods we approve? Bake, broil, dried, steamed, boil, etc. What's one we do not approve? Deep frying, stewing, barbecue. These are some methods that will mess up the food. And when you have acquired these first two, proper type, nice preparation, then don't go and eat the food when you do not need it. So don't eat a plate of pilau. Pilau was a bad example, but don't eat a bowl of granola just before bed because your body is going into sleep, so it doesn't need all that food. Try and eat your heavier meals at the start of the day. And I saw somebody said, I do not eat breakfast. Now, breakfast is by definition whenever you break your fast. So if you break your fast from 11 a.m., that is still considered breakfast because it's the first meal you have out of sleep. So you don't have to eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. You could eat your breakfast at 10:30. You could eat your breakfast at 11 o'clock. You could eat your breakfast at lunchtime. That will still be considered your breaking fast meal. Okay? So I'm not telling you to go and eat at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Whenever your first meal is, eat at that time. One thing I forgot to mention, and this information is coming at rapid fire. Between meals, so if you had breakfast at 7 o'clock, try to have your next meal 4 to 5 hours after. I know it is in the fitness community that you should eat every 3 hours to ensure that you raise your metabolism and your body is always fed. Let me ask you something. If when you go to sleep tonight, I came and wake up every 3 hours, how do you think you would feel tomorrow morning? Tired, beaten up, and exhausted. Well, that is the exact same thing that happens with your stomach when you're providing it with food every 3 hours. Your stomach is not getting a chance to rest, is not getting a chance to recuperate, and that is why you'll find yourself ending up with congestion, constipation, acid reflux, and these kind of issues because your stomach is always being in motion. Your stomach needs time to rest, right? So 4 to 5 hours before between meals. So if you had your lunch, if you had your first meal at 10:30, then your next meal should be at 2:30, right? If you had a meal at 2:30, then your next meal should be at 7:30, right? And the last part of that is ensure that your meals are at least 3 hours before bed. So assuming that we all have eaten dinner, we can go to sleep at 10 o'clock if we ate dinner by 7 o'clock, right? And then the last part, we did the plate story. If you ladies want a copy of this will be in the Fit My Initiative Facebook group. So look out for that. We went through breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper, right? So in closing, we have dealt with a lot of information here tonight. And I know it could be overwhelming, but start one place. My approach to fitness has shifted a lot over the last few years. Before I used to tell persons what to cut out, but I've changed that approach. I'm not going to tell you to cut out, cut out, cut out. What I'm going to say to you is to start adding more of the healthy stuff. So you whatever you're eating, try to add more of the healthy stuff into it. So add more fruits, vegetables, add those into your meal. And then as you master that, then we can start to gradually remove the bad stuff. But before we take away, it must be replaced with something else. All right. So thank you all for being here. This recording will still be available on YouTube. I'll try to shorten it so I cut out all of the unnecessary, well, not unnecessary talking, but the preliminary talking, and you have this information available to you. Thank you all so much for being here. If you have any questions, let me put my number up here. Please take it. Hmm. Should I do that? I get a swarm of questions tonight in my sleep. Let me see. Actually, let me put up our let me put up our email. I'll put up both. So it's fitmateam@gmail.com, and this is the WhatsApp 473-404-3225. Save. Right. So that's the information right there. Right? You can send us an email or you can send me a WhatsApp, and I will do my best to answer your questions um, in a timely manner. All right. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. It was definitely a pleasure teaching this class. I will definitely try to do more, and what I'll do, I'll probably take one topic and focus on that for the night. So what I want my Fit My Initiative ladies to do, because I know you ladies are still here, in the Facebook group now, just to maintain the clutter, in the Facebook group, which we all are part of, and if you are not, send me a message tonight. In the Facebook group, I want you to post at least one meal per day. I'm going to use those meals and I'll review them and show you how to improve them if improvement is needed, or complement them and use them as examples for other ladies who may be struggling to create the meals. So instead of me handing you a bunch of meals that you should eat, you post the meals that you are normally eating, and let me jump in the group this week and I'll give you guys some feedback. So jump on over to that Facebook group. It is facebook.com/groups Fit My Initiative. So just look for Fit My Initiative, or you guys could just WhatsApp me here and I will send you that information. This week, we're going to be doing our workout again tomorrow at 6 p.m. to 6:30, and again on Wednesday at 6 p.m. to 6:30. In between time, send me your meals so we can critique them and we can ensure that you ladies are hitting your goals. Week one, I've got to commend you ladies. You ladies did an awesome job. You guys kept up with those workouts, those sweaty pics, and I'm seeing a lot of activity. I love the support. I love how you other ladies are commenting and also complimenting your classmates on their job well done. So I am happy for that. Keep that going. And as we go in the group now, we're going to be learning some new stuff. Have yourselves an awesome night. I'm going to be signing off of this. I think I'm losing my voice, so I have to have some honey when I'm finished here, and lime, just to bring that back in alignment for our next class. So y'all take care, be blessed, have yourselves an awesome night. Any questions, fitmateam@gmail.com or WhatsApp 473-404-3225. I'm going to be in our pickup location this week, starting tomorrow. So if you guys just want to pop by, it is going to be upstairs, the Baines building in Kingston, and that's the building, the blue building right after Bank of SVG, and you go into the LSC office. You have my WhatsApp. You just shoot me WhatsApp. I should be there tomorrow from at least 10 to about 2. So if you guys want to pop in, we can go over some stuff, and let's go from there. Y'all have yourselves a great night, and I will see you ladies in our next training. Coach Jason signing out.